So I just got done playing Stanley Parable. I have to admit that I was very confused at first because I couldn't figure out what I was doing and it kept repeating the same first introduction part. And finally I eventually figured out how to move and where to go. And eventually I reached the end of the game. I would say it's definitely a game because it has the rules, the objectives. There's an end goal. You have to voluntarily play it, and there's also feedback. It tells you where you're supposed to go and what you're doing. So I liked it. It was kind of interesting. It definitely was a mystery, and it was fun to figure out, even though it was very confusing at first. Um, so I would say that I liked it. Wasn't bad. So for my game, I was talking about Mario Brothers the last video, and it definitely has all four components of what makes a game. So obviously most people have played this, but the rules of the game, you have so many lives, and every time you get hurt, you die unless you have, one of the mushrooms that make you bigger, and you can get hurt twice before you die. So every time you lose a life, that's a game. There's also a time limit, so if you don't complete the level within that time limit, then you lose. The system gives you feedback based off of obtaining certain objects. So every time you get a mushroom or the star, it gives you powers. Also, there's a count of how many coins you have, and you get a free life after reaching so many coins. So that's something like that also. And then the sounds will tell you that you're doing something good. So, every time you reach a coin or get a power, it notifies you and makes a good noise, whereas when you die, it makes like a wah-wah sound. So you know that that's not good. So you also have to move through the game by completing each level. So that's another thing. And as you play through the game, you learn how to beat each level. So I would count that as voluntary participation because obviously the first time you play through, you're going to die easier than if you've played the game multiple times because you don't know what to look for at first. So when I first played the game, I remember I would always die when the hammer throwing turtles would show up. So every time I kept playing that level, I'd know when they were coming and what to look out for and learn how to beat those. So yeah, the objective or goal of the whole game is to save the princess, which most of you guys should know. So you beat Bowser and get to save the princess, which, is at the end. So that covers all of the four objectives of what makes a game. And yeah.